Hello, and welcome to the Digit Guy Education series of Adobe After Effects tutorials with your host, Robert Smith. In this video, we're going to have a bit of an introduction to After Effects and what it is. Now, After Effects is like a melting pot. It's where you grab files from Photoshop, Illustrator, video and audio applications and import them into After Effects and create what is loosely called motion graphics that can be used on TV or the web with equal functionality. The basic structure is to create content in external applications, import them into After Effects, manipulate them, add effects, and then output to one of the many video formats available. If you want a bit of an analogy, you might think of iMovie on the Apple is a very, very basic version of After Effects. After Effects has heaps more things going on in it. You can create content directly inside After Effects. This, of course, is about graphic designers creating content for YouTube, video, Facebook, etc., Instagram, and assumes you have at least a basic understanding of Illustrator and Photoshop. Did I mention how much fun it is? And what an incredible graphic landscape you can create. After Effects is often referred to as Photoshop on steroids. I still don't know what that means, but it sounds good. Okay, let's have a look at it. Here I've got After Effects open. I've got the exercise we're going to look at. I'm going to press the space bar. As you can see, a bit of music playing. Very cheesy Apple loops there. This is an identifier that's designed to go on Instagram. It's 15 seconds long, which is the limit on Instagram. So as you can see, I'm trying to have a bit of a teaser, if you like, so people can have a quick look at my work, just to get them interested in perhaps employing me, which is the name of the game. Okay, we've got a bit of typography there, a bit of video, as you can see, some music, all stuck together and all done in After Effects. Okay, so that's where we're heading. Let's get stuck in. So let's go right back to the basics. Now the basics, I need to create something called a project. Now to do that, I'm going to go to File, New Project like this. And this is what After Effects looks like when it's bare. It's got nothing in it. A new project. It's waiting for you to import some or to create some graphics. Okay, let's have a quick squiz around it. If I look around here, on the left-hand side over here, this is called the project window or the library window. Is where all your assets are. When you import your files, you'll see them sitting over here in this part. This part here, this big area here is where the video, actually you can see the video you're making and what happens when you affect things. It all happens just here for the feedback. On the right hand side here we've got property manipulators and more of that later. But down the bottom is probably the most different thing if you come from a print background, and that's a thing called a timeline down here. And this is where you spend most of your time. And it will become your best friend over time using this timeline. So basically import to here, manipulate here, apply some properties over here and do it over time. That's what After Effects does, and that's how it works. So let's import some assets into After Effects. Now I can do it the traditional way with a file import like this, or I can double click over here, does the same thing, will give me a import dialog box, or Command I does the same thing, or Apple I if you like. So 3 ways of getting things in. But before we do, I'm going to import a layered Photoshop file, which is good technique in After Effects. Let's have a look at this file in Photoshop. So if I Command Tab back to Photoshop, there it is there. As you can see, it's a simple layered document. On each layer we have an image like this, and they take up the whole screen, and the screen is 640 by 640 pixels. We always work in pixels on the screen. It's RGB, not CMYK. Not CMYK. After Effects hates CMYK files, so it has to be an RGB file, and it has to be at 72 dots per inch. That's the basic structure for an After Effects Photoshop file. So again, it has to be 72 dpi, RGB, whatever size, and in pixels, in this case 640 by 640 pixels, and that's what it looks like. Saved as a .psd file. Okay, so I'm going to Command Tab back to After Effects, and I'm going to import that file. I'll do it the way I normally do it. Get used to doing this by just double clicking on this project window, And there it is there, my slide masters. Now this is really, really important, this part. When you're importing a file like this, you have some options down here. Now I know we normally ignore these and just go open, but this is really, really important. Now where it says import as, now if I import as footage, it will flatten that Photoshop file for me. So therefore it'll take the 6 layers and make them into one layer, which is not what we want. Okay, the option we want, we can have either composition, or if you've got some layer styles, composition, retain layer styles. I normally go for this third one here. If it's a layered document, make sure it says composition, retain layer sizes, and you can't go far wrong. But that's very, very important that you check that on the way in. And we'll click open, and then it will say yes, okay. We'll have a look at this dialog box later. Just click OK. And what's happened now, you can see in our project window, we now have something called a composition. If I was to double click on it, you'll see how it fills up this area over here, and something's happened down here on the timeline. I might just Apple Z that. Oops. And do it again. I'll just import that again if I double click on it. Just quickly do that and make sure it's really important we do that. Great. Okay, let's import something else. I'm going to go double click again. This time I'm going to click on a video in the same folder. Now, all these files are simply linked. They're not really imported. Much the same as InDesign. If you're an InDesign user, they're linked to the files. So it really is important that you keep your files in the same structure inside a good folder structure. So green sample, that's the one we want. We don't have any options down here on the way in, so open that. And there it is there. If I was to double click on it, we could actually play it like this. And we're going to use this. We're going to use some nice green screen techniques to get rid of that background. Okay, let's import one more thing. I'll just double click there again. This time I'm going to import the backing track, which is a .aif file, because I'm working on a Macintosh. If you're working on a Windows machine, it'll probably be a .wav file. But an MP3 file is probably better because it works on both platforms. So I'm using a .aif file because I'm on a Macintosh. I'm going to open that. And there it is, my AIF file. So as you can see, this is how we start a After Effects project. We create assets in other applications, we import them in, and then we start to manipulate them inside something called a composition. Okay, now there's lots going on under the hood here in After Effects. It's a very, very processor intensive application. So the more RAM you have, the better. RAM is everything when it comes to using After Effects. And it will make big files too when you output them as video. But okay, so now we've imported our assets and we're just about ready to go. Okay, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.